you might have sales, but not as much. So that made me understand that you have to plan for the slow seasons. For rejection, especially for someone who is in self-employment, who has a startup, who has an organization that they are pioneering.
Yeah.
Rejection is inevitable.
So tell us more about your scholarship.
It's about the Sustainable Development Goals. And so I'm very humbled. Actually, the Call It What podcast played a very great role. I remember there's a night we left here at around midnight. There's the ideology by employers to think that they're doing you a favor to give you a job. Connections will get you in rooms you don't qualify, but it's the attitude that keeps you there. So, as a young person, you've, for example, just left university, you're getting into employment, or you've started a business. Let's take the route of employment.
Let's take both routes.
Okay, let's take both.
Yeah.
You don't have to speak about everything to be heard. So that as they walk in and it bites them, then you can have the conversation later. It doesn't make sense for you to constantly want to speak. You lose value.
How do you show up? Even when the motivation is low, because that alone.
You're taking me very fast.
Okay.
Let's start with the rejection.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Call It What podcast, your space for inciting conversations, bold ideas, and for people who call things what they are. I'm Godwin, and today we have a very special guest. She has been here, and you guys have been wanting me to bring her back, so she's back. Margaret, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's good to have worked 2 quarters of 2025 with the Call It What podcast.
Right.
Oh, the viewers, thank you for loving me. I don't even know why you love me, but I'm really humbled. Yeah.
It's really a privilege to have you back.
Thank you. I'm very humbled.
How has your last quarter been?
It was quite busy.
Yeah,
it was quite busy. Actually, we had 1 podcast in the last quarter.
Yeah.
And December was just a roller coaster in itself.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm glad that on 31st we are here.
Yeah, 31st of December.
To close out the year.
Right.
So that means a lot. And thank you for loving me, the viewers. And thank you for trusting me, the Call It What podcast. I'm very humbled. I'm glad that the conversations we have actually make an impact. They make meaning, because sometimes you can say so much, and then people just get bored. But I'm glad that they choose me to come back, so that means a lot to me.
She has won a scholarship.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So tell us more about your scholarship.
It's a conference, and we shall be having it in Austria.
Yeah. It's
about the Sustainable Development Goals. And so I'm very humbled. Actually, the Call It What podcast was played a very great role. I remember there's a night we left here at around midnight. Working on the video for part of the interview. And yes, I was selected by the Young Professionals Network to represent Uganda in Australia in February as a delegate, and so that will give me an opportunity to speak about the work we do, to speak for the young people of Uganda, and then also to see how we can collaborate with other countries, with other delegates in 89 countries.
Wow.
So to the Call It What podcast, thank you very much, and your team. It really means a lot. I think we spent over 4 to 5 to 6 hours here doing all this. So that really means a lot to me. I'm very much humbled.
Yeah.
So it's not Margaret going. She's just going to represent a number of you. So thank you.
Well, the pleasure is ours. When you win,
we all win.
I mean, we all win. Yeah, right. So today we are not going to talk about job titles and CVs. We are going to talk about the person behind the work. And so we are going to talk about necessarily what is branding, and most importantly, what is personal branding? What does work really mean?
There is so much work, but there is work of employment, and then there is home chores.
Yeah.
So I am assuming that we're talking about. I'm assuming we are talking about employment, right?
Yeah.
So in simple terms, it's just really you offering your services, and in turn, the institution paying you for your services.
Yeah.
So that is work. There is the ideology by employers to think that they are doing a job, a favor.
Service.
No, they're doing you a favor to give you a job. And so that should not be it. It should be that they need to understand that you are offering a service, and in turn, they are paying you for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is work beyond earning money?
Work beyond earning money, of course, is some of the things you're saying.
Yeah.
It's building a brand and building a career, and eventually having your work for you.
Sometimes we do have things that hinder us.
Yeah.
When we are looking towards work.
Okay.
And like you've said, work is, you do work in order for you to be paid. I mean, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Both
it's
the
a
employer,
give and take.
it's a give and take.
Yeah.
Both the employer and
the employee.
Yeah, and the employee. But sometimes it depends on the attitude.
Yeah.
It depends on your attitude towards that work.
Yeah.
So how does attitude play in building a brand, for example, before actually qualifications do? How does attitude towards work do that? And have you noticed that there's a trend on TikTok where they are using these guys who have grown a following on TikTok? Especially there are these guys, I don't know whether you're on TikTok.
Yes, I am.
You are? So there are these guys who are like, they have framed like the ghetto life and how people live in the ghetto. And all of a sudden, these are the people who are now doing the marketing for companies.
Yeah.
Okay? And to me, I feel like that is an attitude.
Yeah.
Even if they are not qualified to be marketeers or salespeople or something.
So you know how they say connections will get you in rooms that you don't qualify, but it's the attitude that keeps you there. So it's the same thing, really. Your attitude plays a very big role. How, one, people view you, two, how people relate to you, and how people want to work with you. Let me try to contextualize it. Of course, you've had very many people on the Call It What podcast. Not that I'm bragging. Why choose Maggie? You understand?
Right.
Maybe it's her attitude or maybe it's not. So, when you're working with someone and it feels light to work with them, you're saying, okay, no, let's not do it that way. Let's do it this way. And they are not complaining. They are very open-minded towards it. Then you find it easier to work with that person. But imagine you work with someone and during your podcasts, it is them who want to guide you on what to do. So you work with them, but then later say, that one is not coming back. You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to really contextualize for your attitude.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing when you get to work. Many employers want to work with people who are easy to work with. You understand? That does not mean that they don't have their values. That does not mean that they don't understand their boundaries. It just means that be the person, be the go-to, be the person they can reach out to, be the person who is available. That means that you shouldn't be available for all things because, of course, you will break down. You understand? But at the end of the day, have that willingness to put your best foot forward. Okay? Because that is what is going to set you apart.
What are those other common mistakes that young people do in a workplace that destroys their brand, or it destroys probably someone who hired you to work ideally thought of who you are, then you reach there and everything just goes down.
So, as a young person, you've, for example, just left university. You're getting into employment, or you've started a business. Okay, let's take the route of employment.
Let's take both routes.
Okay, let's take both. You ideally have come to learn. You understand? So you cannot act like you know so much. And there is this analogy of people who used those big government schools. Me who came from this school. What do you tell us? For us, we used to do it like this. But that was school. This is work.
There's a difference between school and work. Like the actual what's on ground.
They are young people who come from very prominent families. If you really come to work, let it be work. You understand? Your mother has nothing to do with work. You get?
Yeah.
Me, my mother, me, my father. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're trying to build your brand as the person of Maggie, as the person of Chris, away from your parents, away from your mother, away from your school. Okay? So, one of the mistakes I think is that many young people don't have the learning attitude. They don't want to learn. They want to act like they know even when they don't. Then also, they don't ask for help. Okay.
Right.
Many times when things fail, they keep quiet or they shy away. And yet, it is through asking for help. You know, when you raise your hand in a crowd and then you ask a very stupid question, everyone in the room will laugh.
Yeah, ideally, but you might find like all of them had the same problem.
Yeah, or they don't even.
They just didn't have courage to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So another thing is the work etiquette. One of the things we young people struggle with is the self-drive. Okay, and you know, someone will come and work 1 to 3 days, and then I don't know what's wrong with Gen Zs, but someone will say, I found that place boring.
Yeah.
And that's reason enough for them not to go back.
Right.
You get it? But should it be like that? They come to work and then there is conflict. So conflict is a reason why now they want to run away. They don't know how to handle conflict.
Yes.
They don't know how to manage it. And so they just want to run away. Every time there is conflict, they're like, this is time for me to run.
Move.
However, it is through conflict that you learn, you grow.
When there is conflict, most times, it's always that, okay, for the younger generation, it's like they're not seeing my value, because now there is conflict, and conflict most times starts with, maybe you're not worth, or maybe there's some bit of competition somewhere, or there was lack of communication somewhere, and someone's like, do they really value me here, or they value me being busy? Because there is one thing being busy, and there's one thing being valuable.
I think that one, there is self-conflict. That conflict you're having within yourself. Okay?
Right.
Do they value me? Am I just busy? Am I being valuable? Okay? For me, what I'm hearing is that is just self-conflict. You have things you have to deal with as a person. Okay? One of them is understanding your value.
Yeah.
Two is being confident in what you bring to the table. That said, there's also team dynamics where Margaret and Chris are having a conflict.
Right.
Okay, and for me, I noticed that that's where many young people have a challenge. They don't know how to handle that. Okay?
They're putting a lot of feelings.
Yeah, there's so much emotions, and then also I think that many times they want to take the easy way.
So how do you handle conflict?
It can be handled in different ways depending on the circumstance. But one thing I can say is it takes two to tango.
Right.
Yeah. So as much as you're having all these ideologies and thoughts in your mind, I want you to know that on the other end, that person is having the same or even worse. So sometimes you will never reach consensus.
Right.
And so sometimes you will have to water it down. You know how they say, be the bigger person. Sometimes you'll have to be the bigger person. And then other times you'll find yourself reaching consensus. Other times you will have to actually move on. You get it? So it will just really depend on the conflict. And but every time you go through it, I think you learn and become better.
Conflict handling is one of those work etiquettes that are unspoken, those unspoken rules that they may not necessarily put it in your contract or in a manual or something.
They can put it in the manual, but it can't be in the contract. Except maybe for the arbitration, you understand? Now that is when it scales up and it's a litigation issue.
Yeah.
But now these small conflicts that, no, you just have to really...
Yeah, and I feel that just cuts across even on be it business, be it, other things like...
Even if they teach it, you have to go through it to learn it.
Yeah, it's something that you need to experience. Where experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, but let us also talk about other work etiquette,
Yeah.
time management, and punctuality. That's a very big one. In my previous episode, we are going for a trip to Ginger, and time and African time is just something that I think I don't know. It's just
So,
something that is in us.
Maybe I should report myself. I'm one of the biggest people who struggles with time management.
Right.
It has costed me.
Yeah.
Of course, and so it is something, and I know where I actually attained it from. There's an organization I worked in, and it's very interesting, but everything would hold until the institutional leader comes. It became a culture that if they say 10 o'clock, it's midday. You understand?
Right.
I'm learning. I'm not yet there, but I am learning to transition. I think there is a time I was having a meeting with a partner, and they were not Ugandan.
Right.
And so I was 5 minutes late. So I phoned them paying the bill to go. Imagine. So they usually come 15 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
And then they believe that within that time, you come earlier, you start earlier. So 5 minutes late, and I was not able to meet them.
Yeah.
And the same time is money.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that really costed you.
A lot.
Because people say the only time that an African will keep time
Yeah.
is when he's going to board a plane.
Even boarding a plane sometimes.
Sometimes it even means you have to risk it.
Yeah.
But what do we have to do to now eradicate the punctuality syndrome, the lack of time awareness? I think it's something that is embedded even in corporate Africa, or even in business. Now, for example, even business is even worse, because someone will tell you, and coming small rain, and he's going to be late by like
You know how you go for
hours.
those corporate events, and then they say, "We'll start at 4."
Yeah. I think actually it starts at 8 p.m.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the things I am learning is that, those small habits. You wake up in the morning, you have to brush your teeth, you have to shower. This is how you do it.
Right.
And so also time management, if you handle it that way, it actually has a very big implication. I am not there yet, but I think I am better than where I was.
Yeah, than previously.
And so another thing is planning. So because we are speaking to the young person, so one of the things I usually do, and I usually tell my team members, is you lose nothing by just planning out your day. Start by planning out your week. Write everything down that you need to execute. However small it is, if it is writing an email, write it down. If it is writing that letter, write it down. Okay? So I do it every day. At the end of the day, I evaluate myself.
Right.
I did this, I didn't do this. So I tick off. Okay? And then I carry forward to the next day. So it seems, and then I allocate time. I prioritize. So it seems very simple.
Time plays in your professionalism,
A lot.
in your communication,
Yes.
even in the respect that maybe other people give to you, accord to you, or how your personal brand is.
Exactly.
Because I was watching a podcast somewhere, and the permanent secretary for finance, Ramadan Ngo, we were saying that for him by 7:30, he's already in office.
Okay.
And he will start calling for reports, and by 7:30, everyone, like for him, he's the last person to enter office. So that also reflects on your leadership as well. So if you're a leader and you also come late.
One of the things I should tell you I have learned is that thing where they say, me, I come early by 7:30 and I am in office.
Yeah.
Everyone can be in office at 6 and they are on their phones.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
And so yes, they're in office, but they're not in office.
They are busybodies.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're not being valuable.
Thank you. So for me, one of the things I've learned, and that's why there is agility today. Some organizations, they don't really focus on the presence of someone in office.
Right.
They focus on the execution
output.
and the output. That is something I have learned. Okay? Because sometimes you're going to have very early morning meetings because of different time zones.
Yeah.
So you're not going to expect a staff to leave their home at 4 to be in office at 5:30 to have a meeting.
Right.
And yet you can be a little more flexible and let them have the meeting from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. Okay, they come in at 9. So that time in the morning, they have met partners, they have met donors, etc., etc. Okay, and that value returns back to what? The institution. So imagine you're pushing them to be in office by 7:30. So that means they are having that meeting while behind the wheel. The question is their output going to be valuable? That's why sometimes you find someone saying, "Oh, I'm still driving, just wait, hold on a minute, let me park," and then I respond to that. Really? Is that necessary?
No.
Exactly. How about you be a little more flexible? Allow them attend the meeting and then come to office. That does not mean that they have not kept time. That just means that you are valuing the agility that comes along with the new and fast changing world. And so for me, that is something I have learned. Yeah. So sometimes because we work on different time zones for the most, sometimes you find stuff coming in at midday and everyone is thinking, what's wrong with that organization? No, because it adds no value whatsoever.
When you're in office
and you're not doing
and
what
you're
you
not
have
doing
to
anything,
do. But it adds all the value when you're in office and it's valuable. Or you're at home, but you're executing. Or you're seated somewhere and you're doing what you have to do.
Technology has come and it has made things easier. But you find like there are some leaders or people who run departments, who run organizations, and you find that they want you there personally. And sometimes when you're a subordinate and you are trying to give that kind of opinion or say like, okay, the meeting is at 6 a.m. So why can't I do the meeting and then come to office at 9? And that will look like laxity, How do you see handling feedback? Because sometimes feedback, someone might take it personally. I mean, like, okay, so this is insubordination, Why are they talking to me like this?
I think that you're constantly in the HR's office. Anyway, so when it comes to feedback, there's something I have learned. One is around the different, how they call it, the baby boomers, the millennials, the Gen Zs, how they call it,
like the
generations. So I have been in a workspace where we had baby boomers and Gen Zs. Oh my goodness! Every single day,
There's
there's just something. Until it hit me that our view of feedback is very different.
Right.
So when it comes to baby boomers, they believe that when an elder is speaking to you, don't speak back. You understand? And so for Gen Zs, they believe, just like you said, I'm outspoken. I'll speak up my mind, and if you want or not, you have to listen. And so because of that, you find that they are conflicting. You understand?
Right.
And so it's just a communication issue. But also it has an culture embedded in it.
Right.
Because how we view feedback is not how they view it. And that's how conflict emerges. And so then what happens? Then the communication culture in an institution takes precedence.
What if that is not sufficient enough? That communication bloodline is not sufficient enough for communication, and someone feels, I am shocked, I'm not being heard.
We, the Gen Zs or millennials, we want to assure. You understand? You gain nothing by assuring, and yet you could lose everything.
Actually, what are those small behaviors that actually ruin opportunities? Aside from of course talking back or assuring. But I believe it's not necessarily assuring, but just making sure that you contribute to the conversation.
When you're contributing to the conversation, there's a way you can contribute to the conversation. You understand? You don't. One of the things I'm teaching myself is that I don't have to speak about everything to be heard. Sometimes you let the the ball roll into the crocodile's what? Yeah, so that as they walk in and it bites them, then you can have the conversation later. It doesn't make sense for you to constantly want to speak. You lose value.
I agree. And you know you can't change a system overnight, you know. It's something
It's a
that is
process,
embedded,
yeah. And I once told you that culture starts from the top. When it is rotten, it doesn't matter what you do. You understand? It doesn't. When it's rotten from the top, it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they are supposed to set it. And so there are quite a number of things.
That actually ruin opportunities.
Yes, that ruin opportunities. Sometimes it's just the system of the institution. It's just the culture. Sometimes it's your attitude. Sometimes it's your work etiquette, your self-drive. You understand? So as I told you, it takes two to tango. But the most important thing is for you to ensure that you're growing every day.
Let's talk about personal branding. Because you know your brand, your name is your brand, or your brand is your name.
Yeah.
What does personal branding really mean? People think personal branding is who you are on social media. It's part of personal branding, yes, but it's not
It's a
wholesome.
component.
Yeah, it's a component, but it's not something that, okay, this is who someone is. So what is personal branding?
For me, I think personal branding is what people say about you in rooms that you're not.
Right.
Because that's where the real feedback happens, since we talked about feedback.
Right.
Yeah, and everyone, you can be your social media can be all bed and roses. But the question is, what, for example, do your staff say about you when
Your
you're not in the
personality.
room? Not just your personality, a component of all. Your personality, your leadership, your work ethics, etc., etc. Because those are conversations that are had. What do your partners say about the institution you work for? You understand? Because when they say, for example, Margaret works for a Senator Foundation, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Your reputation, because your reputation follows you in every room.
Exactly. That's personal branding in simple terms. So the social media, the work that you do on the ground, the community engagements, etc., the partnership engagements are all parts of personal branding. Yeah.
So is integrity also part of
It's a very important aspect of personal branding because it is one, accountability, integrity, transparency. There are quite a number. And that's how you're evaluated.
So does integrity really matter in this fast-paced world? Because, you know, integrity is thrown out of the window as soon as, like, opportunities are put on the table and everyone is fighting. You know, opportunities are very, limited and everyone is fighting for. I'll give you an example. So these people on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, marketeers and all of that, it's more or less like a cutthroat like industry, you know, and everyone wants to do something extreme to actually, get, attract brands, attract business, attract a following, So how is integrity perceived in, this whole, fast-paced environment?
One of the things I know is that before you engage with other people, other partners, other brands, you must have personal values. And you must be grounded in your personal values.
Right.
And depending on what your personal values are, then that's why people see you do some of the things you do. We know that because, yes, it's an agile global economy today, all those things happen. But we've also seen people who have had organic growth and they've thrived.
Right.
Okay? And the beauty about having the personal values, tomorrow when they are looking for someone to represent a certain brand that requires certain values, all these people who have been doing everything they need to do without values are going to be put on the side. And you'll find yourself in rooms that you shouldn't be because you stuck to your personal values. And that's very important, especially in this fast-paced global economy. it is very, very important to have personal values, and it is very important to stick by them. And it's also equally important to have organic growth. Okay. Yes, there are a few people, how they call it them. There are a few people who will just stand out and one video goes viral.
Yeah, those ones who are skewed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's just one out of the many, if we're talking about the social media component of
Yeah.
it. But there are people who have had organic growth, and someone says, just like the Diary of a CEO, someone starts in their room and little they grow.
Yeah.
You understand?
Slowly, yeah.
And then
Progressively.
today they are able to have conversations with people you have to set 10 appointments to meet.
Yeah.
Why? Because they put in the work. And that's something that many of us young people need to learn to do. To have the values, live by them, and put in the work. You know that work you put in when no one is seeing, eventually it pays off.
So what should a young person protect most when they are building a name?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I think that they should protect, because your name has a component of your values. It has a component of the work you have put in. It has a component of your spirituality. So I think that what they should protect the most is their name, especially, actually, I was going to say especially those that are in the social media world, but I think that cut
I think it's a
across,
cut across,
yes. In entrepreneurship, in the workspace, wherever, they need to protect their name.
Yeah.
So there's just something I wanted to share. So I remember I was working with one of my staff members. He was my accountability partner at that time, 2 years ago, in terms of social media. Okay. And so I used to support an institution, write their newsletters.
Yeah.
And I felt overwhelmed. Okay. And I said, should I really be doing this? And I was actually venting in his presence. Then I remember him telling me, you know what? You are going to put in the work. He was a manager, communications manager. So you're going to put in the work, not because they deserve it, but because you're the editor. Because it is your name on the line.
Yeah.
So he said, you're going to have these sleepless nights, not for them, but for
you.
your name. Yeah.
And I feel like that is the attitude towards work.
Yeah.
Because attitude is the silent currency. There are two mindsets that like your attitude develops on. There is a growth mindset and there is an entitlement mindset. How do these two grow an attitude towards work, business, whatever you are focusing on?
Can I contextualize it? So imagine you have two drivers. There is a driver who comes every morning, cleans their vehicle. Okay. After cleaning their vehicle, they sit in the car and wait for who to drop and who to pick. Okay. And then there is this driver who comes every morning, very quickly cleans up the car. Okay. And then sets goals for the whole week, says, okay, today I'm going to learn how to print. Goes around, prints work for people, drops off to their desks. Okay. In between there, they're sending them, go and do this, go and do this. And then tomorrow they say, okay, today I learned how to print, tomorrow I'm going to learn how to file. Okay. Very quickly, over time, then they say, okay, now I want to learn how to use a laptop. Okay. The other driver is still seated in his car. Okay. And then now, because they are making work lighter for their colleagues.
Right.
And then now they are giving him work. Oh, kindly help me and print this. Kindly help me and do this. Kindly help me and do this. In between there, they are making drop-offs and pickups. Okay. Then now, because they know how to write, they go to the field. And then as the program assistants or officers are doing the work they are doing, they're saying, okay, help us type this work and send it to finance to payouts, or help us summarize this report. Okay. And then an opportunity comes up And this driver is absorbed now as either an administrative assistant or program assistant. And the other driver is still seated in their car. Then you hear people saying, those people favor. You see, and that's really what attitude is in simple terms. And that's how it plays out.
And by the way, the driver who has been seated in his car, most probably they could have told him, could you also help us print this? And they're like, no, me, I'm a driver.
Thank you. They say, no, my work is to drive. If you're calling me to drive, well and good. And then they say, okay, now you carry these pull-up banners and put them in the car. And then goes and reports to the supervisor. Can you imagine? They told me to carry me. Pull-up banners and put them in the car. Right. You understand? So the question is, who is the staff going to want to work with better? That is one. And if an opportunity for growth in terms of training, in terms of learning, in terms of absorption, comes up, who are they going to absorb?
How does someone then handle rejection and slow seasons? Because there are days, especially in business and anything outside 9 to 5, there will be always rejections, there will be always slow seasons.
Maybe I should start with the slow seasons.
Yeah.
I think that for the slow seasons, you have to plan for them. Okay? So I was having a conversation 2 weeks ago with a young lady who has a shop, okay, and she sells clothing.
Yeah.
And so she does secondhand clothes. And she was telling me, so it's very interesting because I also have a shop. I do clothes. And so I was telling her, the sales are quite low. And I didn't know. So she tells me, no, it's just the season. So then I asked her, what do you mean by it's just the season? Because I thought that since it's Christmas period, the sales are going to hike. Right. Then she says, no. During Christmas season, many people want to buy brand new things. So and very affordable. Because remember, they are buying for the whole entire family. Yeah. So many times they buy things from China. They go to downtown. That's why downtown many times is packed. So then she said, this season you have to plan for it. You might have sales, but not as much. Okay? So that made me understand that you have to plan for the slow seasons. For rejection, especially for someone who is in self-employment, who has a startup, who has an organization that they are pioneering.
Yeah.
Rejection is inevitable. Like there is no shortcut to it.
Right.
Okay? Because one, I think we had this conversation. Many people don't believe in you.
Yeah.
They still the person of Chris they see.
Yeah.
Who is not
the Chris of 10 years ago is what they are still seeing.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the person, not the person who is sitting behind the lens and has this vision for the Call It What podcast.
Right.
And so every time you're tabling it to them, they're already closed out. Yeah. Okay? And then two, it's very interesting that people who don't know you are going to believe in you more.
Right.
Okay? But even then, they are seeing you for the first time. So many times they're going to be skeptical. Should we really give him the gig, really? Yeah. Should we really trust him?
Yeah. How do you show up? Even when the motivation is low, Because that alone
You're taking me very fast.
Okay.
Let's start with the rejection.
Yeah.
So one of the things I have learned, and I am teaching myself, that it's okay for me to receive a no. You understand?
It's very normal.
Yeah, it's very okay for me to receive a no. So every time I receive one no, I think my team knows. Yeah. When I receive one rejection, I write more. So if I receive one, I write maybe 5 or 10 more emails. Yeah. Introducing our work. You understand? Or if I receive one proposal, I remember there's a time I received a rejection from a proposal I wrote. And then I wrote back to them and I asked them, okay, so what would you want us to do better? And they wrote back and they said, I think you could improve this and this and this. And maybe, so me, that was the line. And maybe we can consider you. So I shared it in the management group. Then they were like, I think Maggie, let it go. So I didn't even waste time with these people. I went back and I improved
The
the
management
proposal.
people, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I improved the proposal. Not that I was underestimating them.
Yeah.
I improved the proposal.
But there's something that you saw, that an
Yes.
opportunity.
For
that
me, it was
probably,
just the line maybe.
Yeah.
You understand? So they could consider us, but they could consider us if we can improve the proposal to meet their standards.
And they had given you the points on where you can
Exactly.
improve.
So, and I understand management's frustration because we have written this proposal twice.
Right.
You understand? So they are thinking, okay, now why should we waste our time anymore on it? But if there is any chance, even if it is 0.1%, I will try again.
Right.
And so I rewrote the proposal and I shared it. And then I sent it in the group, in the management group. And they said, wow, you wrote it again. You understand?
Right.
And it goes back to the issue of attitude we were talking about. You understand? And so, we have been fine-tuned to see the no's and the rejections as the end line. You understand? Every time there is a rejection, there's a post I usually like. Every time there is a rejection, it is okay to receive that no. It is just pushing you closer to your yes. If only you could understand why that no came. Maybe it was just not your opportunity.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
That is one. Or maybe there's something you could do better and you considered. Or maybe there is something you can do better for the next and you're still considered.
Yeah.
And so it's a blend of so much. Okay? Sometimes it's actually spiritual that you just have to go back and say, you know what, Lord?
Guide.
When I was traveling, as I was doing my interview, actually, I was told that I'm not going to travel. Like the lady just said
Yeah, she just told you
to my
like point
face.
blank, like, you're not going to.
Yeah,
you're
because
not,
of ABCD.
Nah.
Sorry. There's nowhere you're going. And so I went and I prayed. I said, you know what, God, you really know that I need this opportunity.
Yeah.
And somehow things worked out. Maybe it's spiritual.
Yeah.
You get it? So it's just a blend of all.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't see rejection as the worst.
Yeah.
It's painful and it's okay for you to go and grieve about that loss.
Yeah.
But don't stay in the car too long crying. Get out, dust it all up, and try again.
Yeah.
Especially
There's a
for
saying
you.
that says that talent opens doors, but attitude is what will make you stay. So it's all about the attitude.
Yeah, how you view rejection, how you view that noise, how how you said cut and throat. So sometimes because you're the vision bearer, you're going to have to go all out, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's either you do or you do. You can't say it's either you do or you don't. You're not a staff.
Yeah. You're the vision bearer,
Yes.
so you say that do or do.
Or do. There are no in-betweens, okay? Because if you don't, no one is going to do it, okay? Unless you're delegating it. And there are certain things you can never delegate.
So how do you handle times when motivation is low?
Every single day of my life, I have deliverables. Except maybe for the holidays, of course.
Yeah.
But I ensure that I meet the deliverables because I know that tomorrow they're going to add up to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So whether I am motivated or demotivated, I think there's a season in my life where I was actually in office alone. And every single day, I didn't miss a day to go to office. Whether I dragged through, I still went. You understand?
Right.
Because I knew that I needed to do what I must, not should, must do. For work to continue. And so you don't depend on your emotions. You understand?
Yeah.
You focus on the goal. You look at the bigger picture.
Right.
Okay, so I am dragging, this didn't work, then what? But what is the bigger picture? So every time you focus on the bigger picture, even you will find that you're not even concentrated on your emotions. And then also that helps you build habits. You understand? Which are very important. Okay?
Yeah.
That If I have meetings and they are scheduled out, then they are scheduled out. And everyone knows, okay, this is where the meetings are, this is how they are.
Yeah.
You understand? So if I say, okay, no, I won't have that one, I don't feel so well, oh no, the pity party.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, who struggles? You or the institution?
You as
Exactly.
an individual.
One of my biggest lessons is that not everything requires a reaction.
Right.
And silence is golden. Sometimes you just have to keep silent.
Yeah.
And you don't have to explain yourself to everyone. People won't understand you, especially we, the founders. You said we are delusional.
Yeah.
When you're explaining your vision to certain people, you think you're mad.
Yeah.
So, you girl, are you mad or
You
what?
are a mumu.
Are you Ugandan or what? So
Right.
I rest. I don't even explain myself anymore to people.
Yeah.
I just execute. And then when they realize you can actually, oh, it's doable. Oh, she did it. Yeah. So